Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Carrolet Thomas, and welcome to my channel. Thank you to those of you who have subscribed to my channel, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Today's message is, do you know your children's friends? This prophetic word and prophetic warning from God are inspired by the recent passing of Nolan Xavier Wells. Nolan Wells, an 18-year-old college student and football player, vanished after going on a boat trip with friends on the 4th of July, 2026, officials said. He was last seen on Horn Island, a barrier island about 10 miles from the Gulf Coast, officials said. The friends left Horn Island and went back without Nolan, officials said. From what we understand, he chose to stay there. Wells' mother reported him missing and took to social media pleading for help. Hours after a park ranger found a body on Horn Island while searching for missing college student Nolan Xavier Wells, the 18-year-old's mother confirmed his death on Monday afternoon. My heart, thoughts, and prayers go out to Nolan's mother and father and family and all who loved him. As a mother of one child, an adult son, I understand what a son means to his mother. Everything. This prophetic word and warning are to make us aware of the importance of knowing who your children's friends are and knowing your children's friends. Do you know your children's friends? There is a difference between knowing of a person and knowing a person. And there is a difference between knowing a person and knowing a person. Do you know your children's friends? Times are not like they used to be in the olden days. Times are not even like they were when I was growing up. Some people are not neighborly. People are more transient. They seem to move around a lot more. There are a lot of single parents and blended family households. Parents are working around the clock, weekends, holidays, 2 and 3 jobs, remotely, hybrid, in office, traveling for work, etc. Everyone has access to the internet. Children have their own cell phones and tablets. There's a whole lot of texting going on. Social media brings people together and tears people apart. Friends, family, foes, and strangers. You name it. And there is a chat room chattering away about it. Nobody is calling the house phone to ask to speak to anyone because most homes don't have one. Everybody in the house is on their phone at the same time, or you have phones ringing here, there, and everywhere. Everybody is busy talking, so nobody is listening to the children's conversations with their friends and peers and sometimes strangers. That's dangerous. Children used to have to use their parents' cars. Now they have their own. You call them, and unless you know their location, You have to take their word that they are where they say they are and they are with who they say they are with. Technology has connected us in many ways and disconnected us in as many or more. People are not having as much direct face-to-face and voice-to-voice interaction as much. And in all honesty, it helps to create opportunities for chaos, confusion, drama, misunderstandings, and can and sometimes leads to unsafe situations. Do you know your children's friends? Raising children is not easy, especially in today's society. But that is why God gives us parents. Because we are older than them and have lived longer, we can see what they can't. And the Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Having friends is important, but it is important to have the right kind of friends. When I think of my own upbringing, I never went anywhere with a friend and they left me there. We went together and we stayed together and we left together. And we did not have cell phones. We had house phones. So anybody we talked to had to call the house, and our parents knew who we were talking to and what we were saying. In raising my son, I didn't give him as much freedom as I had for many reasons. Though he was a very good child and very obedient, the world was different. And it wasn't so much him that I was worried about. It was the background and influence of other children where I did not know their parents, their upbringing, and thought processes in decision making. Now, this is not to lay blame, nor to say that knowing your children's friends will prevent anything bad from happening. But as parents, we must know the character of who we entrust our children to, whether they are minors or young adults. You must be aware enough to tell a young adult that you don't trust a person if you don't trust them. You must be aware enough to ask your young adult for first and last names and the correct spelling. You must be aware enough to ask for cell phone numbers and parents' names. You must be aware enough to know where people live. If this sounds like too much information and or overstepping parental bounds, just know that if something happens, whatever information you have is all the information you have. And if it is a first name and or a nickname, you will have wished you had more. Parents need to know details. You need an itinerary of who, what, where, when, how, and why. And if you think this is TMI, too much information, if something happens, all the information you have is all the information you have. Our children are gifts from God. And if you feel about yours like I feel about mine, you can't have enough or too much information. It is there for you if you need it. It is better for you to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I do not know what information Nolan's parents have and or had. I do not know if they knew his friends, nor how well they knew them. But I worked in education and with young people for over 15 years, And I also was an actively involved parent in my own son's life. I got a bird's eye view of different parenting styles and the lack thereof. I saw children with too much freedom. I've seen parents trying to find their children after activities, games, performances, etc. Again, this is not to lay blame. I don't know about Nolan Xavier Wells' situation, but God is wanting us to know and warning us in this prophetic word to make sure that you know your children's friends. When we as society lose a good young person, we never know what they were destined to be. It is a collective grief, and we are tired of crying. Do you know your children's friends? I hope the answer is yes, and that you have peace in and peace with what you know. I hope and pray that this message has been a blessing to you. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you feel led, you can make a donation. Thank you for listening and supporting my YouTube channel. God bless you, and just be happy.